Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the control center of the International Weather Initiative, her eyes fixed on the massive holographic display showing Earth's atmospheric patterns. The swirling colors of storm systems and wind currents danced before her. But it wasn't Earth's weather that held her attention. It was what lay beyond, the vast expanse of space where her weather drones were about to make history. Drone Swarm Alpha is in position, announced Marcus Rodriguez, her lead engineer, ready to initiate the first deep space weather modification test. The room fell silent. After 15 years of research and development, humanity was about to attempt something unprecedented, controlling the very fabric of space weather itself. What had started as a project to manage Earth's increasingly volatile climate had evolved into something far more ambitious when Sarah discovered that their atmospheric manipulation technology could affect solar winds and cosmic radiation. "Initialize the quantum field generators," Sarah commanded, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The drones, barely visible against the stark backdrop of space, began to pulse with an ethereal blue light. Each one was a marvel of human engineering, powered by miniaturized fusion reactors and equipped with field projectors that could influence the fundamental forces of nature. The first indication that something extraordinary was happening came when the solar wind patterns on their monitors began to shift. Streams of charged particles from the sun, typically chaotic and unpredictable, started moving in controlled patterns, forming corridors of calm in the turbulent sea of space. "It's working," Marcus whispered, his eyes wide with amazement. "The particle density is responding exactly as predicted." But their triumph was short-lived. As the drones continued their carefully choreographed dance through space, something unexpected appeared on their long-range sensors. Multiple objects were decelerating from faster-than-light travel, emerging like ghosts from the fabric of space-time itself. "Those are ships," Sarah realized, her blood running cold. "And they're not ours." The alien vessels were unlike anything humans had ever seen, organic-looking constructs that seemed to flow through space rather than cut through it. They had appeared precisely where the weather drones had created the most stable corridor in the solar wind, as if drawn to the artificial calm like moths to a flame. "All stations, initiate first contact protocols." General Diana Hayes' voice crackled over the facility speakers. The military had always been involved in the project, but no one had expected it to attract extraterrestrial attention so quickly. The alien ships maintained their distance, but their presence sent Earth's military and political establishments into overdrive. Within hours, the UN Security Council was in emergency session, and space forces worldwide were on high alert. Sarah's team worked tirelessly to analyze the data pouring in. The aliens seemed particularly interested in the drones, scanning them with unknown forms of energy that made the quantum sensors fluctuate wildly. "They're studying our technology," Sarah explained to the hastily assembled panel of world leaders. "Based on their reaction, I don't think they've seen anything like this before. We're not just controlling weather. We're manipulating fundamental forces in a way that might be completely novel to them." The implications were staggering. Humanity, often dreaming of how it would measure up to advanced alien civilizations, had somehow stumbled upon something unique. The ability to control space weather wasn't just a scientific breakthrough. It was a technological advantage that no one had anticipated. Days passed, and more alien ships arrived. Some positioned themselves at the edges of the solar system, while others moved closer to study the effects of the weather drones. Earth's governments debated how to proceed, but Sarah and her team continued their work, refining their control over the cosmic elements. "Look at these readings," Sarah pointed out to Marcus one evening, when exhaustion had begun to blur the lines between excitement and anxiety. "The drones aren't just controlling the solar wind, they're creating stable pathways through space. We might have accidentally discovered a way to make interstellar travel safer and more efficient." The revelation brought both hope and concern. If their technology could indeed make space travel safer, it would be invaluable to any spacefaring civilization. But it also meant that Earth had suddenly become one of the most strategically important locations in this part of the galaxy. As the first week of alien contact drew to a close, Sarah received an encrypted message from General Hayes. The aliens had finally initiated communication, and their message was clear. Humanity had achieved something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy. The weather drones, originally designed to protect Earth from climate disaster, had become humanity's first major contribution to galactic civilization. "We're not ready for this," Marcus said, voicing the concern that everyone felt. Sarah looked at the holographic display, where the weather drones continued their precise manipulation of cosmic forces, creating patterns of order in the chaos of space. "Maybe not," she replied. "But we've never been ready for any of our great leaps forward. We just take them anyway." The drones danced on, their blue light a beacon announcing humanity's arrival on the galactic stage. Earth had made its mark not through military might or economic power, but through the uniquely human combination of necessity, innovation, and the stubborn refusal to accept the limitations of nature itself. The storm makers had become the star shapers, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Concordat buzzed with an energy that made the crystalline walls vibrate. Delegates from 37 spacefaring civilizations had gathered for an emergency session, and Earth's representatives, Dr. Sarah Chen and Ambassador James Morrison, found themselves at the center of a diplomatic storm that rivaled any weather pattern their drones could control. The Nexian delegate, a being of pure energy contained within an environmental suit, was the first to speak. "The humans have upset the natural order of space travel. Their weather manipulation technology threatens established trade routes and could be weaponized against our civilizations." Ambassador Morrison maintained his composure, though Sarah could see the tension in his shoulders. They had spent weeks preparing for this moment, knowing that humanity's sudden leap into galactic politics would cause upheaval. "Our weather drone technology was developed to protect our planet," Morrison explained, his voice carrying across the chamber. "Its applications for safer space travel benefit all species, not just humanity." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated protests. The kitten, insectoid beings known for their vast merchant fleets, clicked their mandibles in agitation. "You speak of benefits while holding a knife to our throats," their representative chittered. "Your drones could shut down our shipping lanes at will." Sarah stepped forward, activating the holographic display she had prepared. "If I may demonstrate," she began, her voice steadied despite her racing heart. The display showed the complex network of solar winds and radiation streams that crisscross the galaxy. "Our technology doesn't destroy or disrupt these natural phenomena. It guides them, creates safe passages through them. We've already used it to protect 3 merchant vessels from radiation storms in the past month alone." The chamber grew quieter as the delegates studied the data. The Meridians, a species of crystalline beings who had mastered quantum computing millennia ago, showed particular interest. Their representatives' facets glinted as they processed the information. "The humans speak truth about the protective applications," the Meridian delegate chimed, their crystalline voice resonating through the chamber. "However, the potential for this technology to be used as a weapon cannot be ignored. One could theoretically direct solar storms toward populated systems." Ambassador Morrison nodded gravely. "Which is precisely why we're here. Earth proposes a joint oversight committee for the technology's deployment and development. We want to work with the Concordat, not against it." The proposal sent new ripples of discussion through the assembly. The Aetherian delegation, beings of pure thought who rarely involved themselves in material matters, stirred with interest. Their representative's thought voice echoed in everyone's mind. "The humans show wisdom in offering cooperation. Perhaps this is an opportunity rather than a crisis." But not all were convinced. The Vorax, a warrior species known for their territorial expansionism, saw things differently. Their delegate, Admiral Cathor, rose to his full, intimidating height. Pretty words mask dangerous intentions. "The humans have barely mastered interplanetary travel, Yet they expect us to believe they stumbled upon this technology by accident. I propose we demand the immediate cessation of all weather drone operations." Sarah felt her anger rise, but years of scientific discipline helped her maintain her composure. "With respect, Admiral, we didn't stumble upon anything. We solved a problem that threatened our world's survival. The fact that the solution has wider applications doesn't make it any less legitimate." The debate raged on for hours. Some species saw opportunity in collaboration with Earth, while others viewed the weather drones as an unacceptable disruption to the galactic status quo. Through it all, Sarah noticed something interesting. The species that relied heavily on space trade were the most concerned, while those with more advanced propulsion technology seemed more curious than threatened. During a brief recess, Sarah shared her observation with Morrison. "They're not really afraid of the technology itself," she whispered. "They're afraid of becoming dependent on Earth for safe passage through difficult space." Morrison nodded thoughtfully. "Then perhaps that's our angle. We don't need to control the technology exclusively. We can teach others how to use it." When the session resumed, Morrison presented a bold new proposal. Earth would share the basic principles of weather drone technology with any civilization that agreed to a mutual defense pact. The drones would be jointly operated, with multiple species contributing to their development and deployment. The chamber erupted once again, but this time the tone was different. The Nexians and Meridians immediately showed interest, while even the cautious Kittens seemed to reconsider their position. Only the Vorax remained openly hostile, their delegates storming out of the chamber in protest. As the session drew to a close, the Aetherian representative made one final observation that echoed through everyone's consciousness. "The humans have shown us something remarkable today. Not just their technology, but their ability to turn a potential conflict into an opportunity for cooperation. Perhaps this is why they achieved what we did not. They see storms not as obstacles, but as forces to be understood and guided." Sarah and Morrison left the chamber exhausted but hopeful. They had avoided an immediate crisis, but both knew this was just the beginning. The real work would lie in implementing their promises and proving that humanity could be trusted with its newfound power. As their shuttle prepared to depart the Concordat station, Sarah watched the distant stars through a viewport. Somewhere out there, Earth's weather drones continued their work, weaving safe passages through the cosmic storm. They had changed the galaxy, for better or worse, and there was no going back. The only question was whether humanity could weather the diplomatic storm as skillfully as they had mastered the physical ones. The warning came at 300 Earth Standard Time. A Meridian deep space monitoring station detected a Vorax battle fleet dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Dr. Sarah Chen was pulled from her sleep by the urgent notification, and within minutes she was back at the International Weather Initiative's command center. 37 warships, General Hayes reported, her holographic image floating above the tactical display. The Vorax aren't being subtle about their intentions. Sarah studied the formation of the approaching fleet. The Vorax ships moved with predatory grace, their hulls bristling with weapons that could reduce a planet to ash. But it wasn't Earth they were after. Their trajectory aimed directly for the largest concentration of weather drones in the outer solar system. "They're going to try to destroy the drone network," Sarah realized. "Without it, we lose our leverage with the Concordat." The past 3 months had seen Earth's weather drone technology become increasingly integral to galactic commerce. The human-designed corridors through solar storms and radiation fields had reduced shipping losses by 60%. Several species had already begun the process of learning the technology, but Earth remained the primary operator of the system. "We've got reinforcements coming from the Meridians and Kitten," Hayes continued, "but they're hours away. We need to hold the line ourselves." Sarah's team worked frantically to prepare their defenses. The weather drones had never been designed as weapons, but their ability to manipulate space weather could be repurposed. Marcus Rodriguez, now heading drone operations, had developed several defensive protocols they hoped they'd never need to use. "Drone swarms repositioning," Marcus announced, his fingers dancing across the control interface, initiating Operation Solar Shield. The holographic display showed their drone network shifting into a new configuration. Instead of their usual scattered pattern optimized for weather control, the drones began forming concentric rings around the solar system's critical infrastructure. The Vorax fleet approached rapidly, their weapons charging. Their first volley, a barrage of quantum-tipped missiles, streaked toward the outer ring of drones. Now, Sarah commanded. The drones activated in perfect synchronization. The solar wind, usually a gentle stream of particles, suddenly became a roaring torrent under their influence. A wall of charged particles rose between Earth's assets and the incoming missiles, creating an impenetrable shield of energy that caused the missiles to detonate harmlessly. Admiral Cathor's voice boomed across all frequencies. "This display only proves our point, humans. Your technology is too dangerous to be left in your hands." Sarah didn't bother responding to the propaganda. She was too busy coordinating with Marcus as they prepared their counter-strategy. The drones weren't just creating defensive barriers. They were actively reshaping the space around the Vorax fleet. Particle density increasing in sectors 7 through 12, Marcus reported. Solar wind velocity approaching critical threshold. The Vorax ships found themselves caught in artificial solar storms that threatened to tear their shields apart. But they were a warrior species, and they had prepared for this. Their ships began emitting some kind of dampening field that stabilized the space around them. "They've studied our technology," Sarah realized. "They've developed countermeasures." General Hayes' expression hardened. "Then we show them why humans are known for thinking outside the box." Dr. Chen, execute Protocol Omega. Protocol Omega was Sarah's most ambitious design yet, a technique they had discovered but never dared to test at full scale. The drones began moving in new patterns, not just manipulating the solar wind, but creating quantum-level disturbances in space-time itself. "Warning them now," Hayes announced. "They'll have 30 seconds to retreat before we can't guarantee their safety." The Vorax response was predictable. They charged forward, weapons blazing. Their energy beams lanced through space, destroying several drones. But it didn't matter. The remaining drones had already begun the cascade effect. Space itself seemed to ripple around the Vorax fleet. Their dampening fields, designed to counter normal space weather manipulation, proved useless against the quantum distortions. Ships began losing power as their engines failed to compensate for the new physics taking hold around them. "By the void," Cathor's voice crackled through the interference. "What have you done?" "Created a space where your weapons and engines don't work quite right," Sarah explained calmly over the channel. "Nothing permanent, just temporary changes to local physical constants. You can either retreat now under your own power or wait until you drift back into normal space. Your choice." The Vorax fleet hung helpless in space, their mighty weapons silent. After what felt like an eternity, Cathor gave the order to withdraw. The fleet limped away, their retreat covered by the same quantum distortions that had stopped their attack. As the last Vorax ship disappeared into FTL, cheers erupted throughout the command center. But Sarah wasn't celebrating. She was already analyzing the data from the encounter, knowing that this wouldn't be the last challenge they faced. "The Vorax will be back," Hayes said, echoing Sarah's thoughts. "And next time, they'll be better prepared." "So will we," Sarah replied, watching the drones return to their normal configurations. "But more importantly, we've shown the galaxy something crucial. We can defend ourselves without destroying our opponents. That's going to matter in the long run." The incident, which would become known as the Solar Shield Crisis, marked a turning point in galactic politics. Earth had proven that its mastery of space weather wasn't just a commercial tool. It was a revolutionary approach to space warfare itself, one that emphasized control and containment over destruction. As the Meridian and Kitten reinforcements finally arrived, Sarah received messages from dozens of species that had been watching the confrontation. The requests for cooperation and technology sharing had doubled. Earth's weather drones had faced their first major test, and the galaxy had witnessed something unprecedented. A species that could win a battle by changing the rules of physics itself. The Meridian quantum computers detected it first, a massive stellar anomaly moving through the galaxy's Orion arm. The phenomenon was like nothing ever recorded, a cascade of interstellar radiation storms powerful enough to render entire sectors uninhabitable. In its path lay dozens of populated systems, including major trade hubs and colony worlds of multiple species. Dr. Sarah Chen studied the data feeds with growing concern. The Concordat emergency session had been running for 12 hours straight, with representatives from affected systems growing increasingly desperate as predictions showed the devastation heading their way. The radiation front will reach the kitten colonies in 72 hours, the Meridian delegate announced, their crystalline form pulsing with urgent light patterns. The Nexian trade routes will be compromised within 96. Evacuation is impossible on this scale. Ambassador Morrison turned to Sarah. Can our weather drone technology help? Sarah had been running simulations since the anomaly was first detected. Yes, she replied, but not alone. We'll need everyone's help for this to work. She stepped forward, activating the chamber's main holographic display. The projection showed the approaching storm front, a writhing mass of deadly radiation and gravitational distortions that made the Vorax fleet look like a minor inconvenience. Our drones can manipulate space weather, but this is beyond anything we've attempted before, Sarah explained. We'll need to coordinate with every spacefaring species that can reach the affected sectors. This has to be a joint operation. The chamber erupted in discussion. Even the Vorax, still smarting from their defeat months earlier, paid close attention. What Sarah was proposing would require unprecedented cooperation between species that often struggle to agree on simple trade regulations. The humans have proven their technology works. The Aetherian representative's thoughts echoed through the chamber. We should trust their expertise in this matter. Over the next hours, a plan took shape. The Meridians would provide their quantum computing power to calculate precise drone positioning. The Kitten would supply their vast merchant fleet to help position the drones. The Nexians would contribute their energy manipulation technology to boost the drones' power, while other species offered ships, resources, and their own unique technological capabilities. Even the Vorax, after much internal debate, agreed to help. Their warships, it turned out, could generate powerful electromagnetic fields that would complement the drone's effects. Operation Cosmic Shield, as it was quickly named, began immediately. Sarah found herself coordinating with alien scientists and engineers, combining technologies that had never been meant to work together. The plan was audacious. They would create the largest controlled weather system ever attempted, a defensive network spanning multiple sectors of space. Drone swarms in position, Marcus reported from the control center on Earth, beginning integration with alien tech now. The next 72 hours were a blur of activity. Sarah hadn't slept, surviving on stimulants, and the sheer determination to make this work. The combined fleet, weather drones, alien ships, and hybrid technologies, moved into position like dancers in a cosmic ballet. As the radiation front approached, Sarah gave the command to activate the network. Thousands of drones, augmented by alien technology, began their carefully choreographed performance. The space around them came alive with energy as the drones created overlapping fields of influence, bending and redirecting the approaching storm. It's working, the Kitten observer clicked excitedly. The radiation levels are dropping in the shielded corridors, but the victory was far from assured. As the storm front made contact with their defensive network, the stress on the systems was enormous. Several drones overloaded and failed. Alien ships strained to maintain their positions against the onslaught of gravitational forces. We're losing coherence in Sector 7. A Nexian engineer reported. The pattern is breaking down. Sarah studied the data streams, her mind racing. The original plan wasn't holding, but perhaps. Redirect power from the outer rings, she ordered. We're not trying to stop the storm. We need to work with it. Guide it like we do with solar winds. The strategy shift was implemented immediately. Instead of fighting against the radiation front, the network began to flow with it, creating channels and safe zones within the storm itself. It was like building rivers through an ocean of fire, but it was working. Hour by hour, the combined fleet maintained their positions, adjusting and adapting as the storm passed through. When it was finally over, the affected sectors had survived largely intact. There were losses. Some drones and ships hadn't made it, but the populated systems had been protected. The success of Operation Cosmic Shield marked a new era in galactic cooperation. Species that had been suspicious of each other for millennia had worked together, combining their technologies and expertise to face a common threat. And at the center of it all was humanity's weather drone technology, proving that sometimes the most powerful innovations come from solving simple problems in unexpected ways. As the emergency session concluded, the Aetherian representative shared a final thought. The humans have shown us something remarkable today. Their technology did not save us. Their ability to bring us together did. Perhaps this is their true gift to the galaxy. Sarah, finally allowing herself to rest, reflected on those words. The weather drones had started as a solution to Earth's climate crisis, but they had become something far more, a bridge between civilizations, a tool for cooperation rather than conflict. The cosmic dance had brought out the best in everyone involved, proving that the greatest challenges could only be overcome together. 5 years after Operation Cosmic Shield, the galactic landscape had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Harmony Station, Earth's first major extraterrestrial diplomatic outpost, watching ships from a dozen different species navigate through the carefully maintained weather corridors that now crisscross the galaxy. The station itself was a testament to how far humanity had come. Built through a collaboration of multiple species, it served as both a control center for the expanding weather drone network and a symbol of peaceful cooperation. Inside, humans worked alongside aliens, sharing knowledge and continuing to push the boundaries of what was possible with their combined technologies. The latest numbers are in, Marcus announced, joining her at the viewport. Now serving as the chief coordinator for interspecies drone operations, he had traded his old engineer's uniform for diplomatic robes. The new deep space corridors have reduced travel time between the Nexian and Meridian sectors by 40%. The Kitten are calling it the greatest advancement in trade since the discovery of FTL travel. Sarah smiled, remembering how far they'd come from those first tentative experiments with Earth's weather. The drone network had evolved beyond anything she could have imagined, incorporating innovations from dozens of species. The Meridians had contributed their quantum computing expertise, allowing for more precise control over space-time fluctuations. The Nexians had helped develop new energy distribution systems that made the drones more efficient. Even the Vorax, after their failed attempt to destroy the network, had eventually contributed their military expertise to help secure it against natural and artificial threats. Ambassador Morrison's team is ready for the ceremony, Marcus continued. The Galactic Concordat is waiting. Today marked a historic occasion, the official inauguration of the Interstellar Weather Control Authority, IWCA, a new governing body that would oversee the ever-expanding network of weather drones and space-time corridors. Earth had been chosen to lead the organization, a position that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. As Sarah made her way to the ceremony hall, she passed through corridors filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The Aetherian delegate nodded in acknowledgement, their thought patterns radiating approval. A group of Kitten engineers clicked their mandibles in respect as she passed. Even a Vorax commander, present as part of their species' new commitment to cooperation, gave a formal salute. The ceremony hall itself was a marvel of architecture, designed to accommodate beings of all shapes, sizes, and environmental needs. Ambassador Morrison stood at the central podium, flanked by holographic displays showing the vast network of weather-controlled space lanes that now connected the galaxy. 5 years ago, Morrison began, his voice translated simultaneously into dozens of alien languages. Humanity was a newcomer to galactic society, known only for our unusual solution to atmospheric problems. Today we gather to celebrate not just a technological achievement, but a triumph of cooperation and shared purpose. Sarah watched as the displays showed key moments from the past 5 years: the Solar Shield Crisis, Operation Cosmic Shield, and countless smaller collaborations that had built trust between species. The weather drone network had become more than just a tool for controlling space weather. It was the backbone of a new era of galactic cooperation. The creation of the IWCA, Morrison continued, represents our commitment to maintaining and expanding this network together. No single species owns this technology anymore. It belongs to all of us. The announcement was met with approval from the assembled delegates. The Meridian representatives stepped forward, their crystalline form shimmering with formal patterns. The humans have shown us that true progress comes not from technological superiority, but from the wisdom to share and collaborate. The weather corridors have become the threads that bind our civilizations together. As the ceremony proceeded, Sarah's mind wandered to the future. The drone network was already enabling exploration of previously inaccessible regions of space. Combined with other species technologies, it was opening up new possibilities for colonization, research, and peaceful expansion. The Aetherian delegate's thoughts touched her mind. "You are thinking of what comes next." Sarah nodded. "There's still so much we don't understand about space weather, about the fundamental forces that shape our galaxy. Every new discovery leads to more questions." "That," the Aetherian responded, "is why your species has thrived here. You never stop questioning, never stop seeking new horizons." The ceremony concluded with the official activation of the new IWCA control systems. Across the galaxy, weather drones adjusted their patterns, their movements now guided by the combined expertise of multiple species working in harmony. The display showed the network in all its glory, a vast, intricate dance of technology and natural forces, making the dangerous void of space a little safer for everyone. Later, alone in her office, Sarah reviewed messages from Earth. The weather drone technology that had started it all was still being used there, helping to maintain the planet's restored climate. But humanity's gaze was firmly fixed on the stars now, their future inexorably tied to the greater galactic community they had helped to reshape. A notification appeared on her screen. Another region of space mapped. Another corridor established. Another barrier broken. Humanity had found its place in the cosmos, not through conquest or competition, but by offering something unique: the ability to work with the fundamental forces of nature itself, and the wisdom to share that knowledge with others. The new horizons beckoned, and humanity, together with their alien allies, was ready to explore them all.